Here. Got it.
All right, then to act up.
It's preparing.
All right, then to act up.
It's preparing. Okay, wait, let me get my Zoom going. All right, you guys ready?
The parents are out here to get these kids. That's good.
I know, right? So, good evening, everybody. This is Sean Zachary with the National HBCU Auxiliary and Dance Directors Association. And with me today, I also have board member Catherine Callahan, who is sitting in, and she's just going to be here for support and to provide information as she can. But today we have special guest, Mr. Eddie Morris, who is the director and coach of the Electric Silk Color Guard at South Carolina State University in Orangeburg, South Carolina. So I hope that you guys will enjoy this conversation. And this is going to be one of our Hit It and Quit It mini casts. So we're here just to drop some knowledge, to give you a little bit of information. And we're not here to keep you all night. We know it's 106 degrees outside. I don't know where it is, how hot it is where you are, but it is 106 degrees where I am. And so, we just here trying to stay cool. So Mr. Morris, before we get started, give us just a little bit of your background and how you got started with Color Guard and Auxiliary.
Okay. Well, I'm originally from Adel, Georgia, and I started band in middle school. My band director was Frank Williams. And so I wanted to play a saxophone, but when you have brothers in the band, the director want you to follow your brothers. And so my brother played trombone. And so he told me I wanted to play saxophone, but he told me if I play trombone, he will furnish my horn for me. So I said, okay. And so that was brass, not knowing getting into brass was a major part of the band. So as I went along, I saw, they had the majorettes, drill team, and color guard like that. So my cousin, before then, I had a cousin that was a majorette. And so I saw her picking up a baton and twirling and stuff. So I said to myself, I want to do that. I self-taught my own self, but she would show me some things, but because I was determined and loved that, I taught myself. And so I went on through middle school and everything and played trombone. But during that, I was gifted. I started helping the majorettes in the dance with theirs, just picking up stuff and doing things. And they asked me, how did I do that? And so I showed them, not knowing, having any training or anything like that. Went to high school, and I marched in the band, and I wanted to be the first male feature twirler, but because I played trombone, I wasn't allowed to.
That was the conversation we had last week.
I said, okay, well, since I'm not able to do it, not being racism, nothing like that, it was always the whites on the auxiliary squad. So I took upon myself, I said, I'm going to help some of these black young ladies come on the auxiliary. So I started training them myself. And everybody that I trained and taught, they either made the squad and they was captains in the past. And so from there, I graduated. I went there my senior year. I went to Tift County High School where I marched with them. I graduated and I went to Fort Valley State. That's where I started out at HBCU.
Okay.
Robert Williams was my band director, Bob Williams. And so not knowing when I went there to get in the band, he started a male color guard. And so I was like a charter male color guard at Fort Valley State with Mr. Williams. And so by me having a marching corps and had a corps background and all, I marched Well, let me back up. Before I went to Fort Valley State, I marched Madison Scouts, Drum and Bugle Corps in
Wow, okay.
South Wind. And by me having a Corps background, I went there, and so he asked me, did I want to be on the flag corps? I said yes. And so we started. It was 4 of us, but you know, we was bad.
Right.
Bad for it. So one day we was out there practicing marching down the field, and I was getting, and he said, holler at me, Eddie, stop marching corps. Because the different about it, the corps is Tobal Hill, and show is 90s marching. So, but that was the only difference. And then like some of the guys, they never spent before, but by me having my background, I taught them. I wasn't the captain. Somebody upperclassman was the captain, but you might as well have said I was the captain because I was teaching the routines and everything.
Right.
And so from there, I went on, you know, left Fort Valley, and I went to Florida School of the Arts, graduated, got my dance degree from there, then moved up to New York. Well, before I moved to New York, I auditioned for Alvin Ailey and made it. Then I moved to New York and started dancing up there, and went to City College University, where I got my bachelor's in dance and everything else, and did Broadway and all of that. And before I really started teaching and being a coach, I used to just go around and teach different high schools, you know, in Georgia and different continents, just because I knew how to do it. And they knew that everybody that I have taught in the past, they either received best in class or superior ratings. And it's just something that I love and enjoy doing. It's lifetime.
Right.
And that's why I continue to do it. And as long as the Lord gives me breath in my body, that's what I will be doing.
Wow. Wow. Well, I'm gonna tell you something. You've already dropped a couple of gems. One, I had no idea that Fort Valley started an all male color guard. And then 2, I would pay to get a picture of you dancing in New York City. I would pay.
Yeah,
I don't think
I'll try to get some
think-
and to this day I still dance.
I know you do. And I don't think a lot of people know that you majored in dance and that you went and danced professionally. I don't think people
They
get
don't.
that. They see you, you know, with Electric Silk, and they kind of think that's it. But no, you have a very wide background. But what I want to, before we go on any further, I want to welcome 2 other of our association board members, Mrs. Stephanie Magruder from Winston-Salem State University Scarlet Lace Auxiliary, and then also Mr. Gary Bryant, who works and writes drill and has done some color guard work with North Carolina A&T, and then also with the high school that he worked that he taught at. So I just want to say welcome to them. We're going to join the discussion. So one of the things that we talk about quite a bit now with color guard is the HBCU style and what makes that style. So for you coming from DCI with a DCI background and a formal dance background and winter guard, what challenges did you have coaching in the HBCU team?
Really, I didn't have any challenges really because I'm a technical person, and HBCU is kind of like militant, you know, very sharp in percussion and stuff like that. We did that in DCI as well, but we had just a little more flow and flavor to it. So by me getting introduced to show at Fort Valley State, I just fused both of them together. It just made it as one, core and show. When it comes to the color guard movement, we do the show flag and stuff like that, but as we're doing it, we dance with it as well, because that's what the show is about. So you can put both together and really give it a style to highlight what you're doing and tell the story of the music.
And that's interesting. And I don't think people really think about that as much because they kind of see HBCU style as this,
yes,
very much in a box kind of style. And so, there is a lot of discussion about whether people who kind of, like South Carolina State, like Prairie View, that do more of a color guard style.
Yes.
Some people kind of question the whole validity of that and if it's really HBCU enough and all of
Yeah.
that. Gary, what do you think about that? You're on mute.
I'm on mute. That's why I was like, oh, Gary, you're on mute. So when I think about it, I always look at that and I frown my face when people say that, because at the end of the day, flag is flag.
Yes.
Color guard is color guard. Like, I feel like to us in this style, it's more limited. So it's like, how can you say this is not HBCU enough? Because honestly, most flags, because a lot of people don't even call themselves a color guard. Some of those flag teams, flag lines are very limited in what they know from a technique standpoint. So you're just going to get a lot of your basic repeated moves that you see from people. And then your more affluent teams, you tend to get more. But I just kind of, when you look down to it, it really kind of deals with the coaching that a lot of them get, because a lot of the teams don't necessarily have a coach that comes from a color guard background. It may just be a sponsor or somebody that's over them, and somebody else kind of comes and do the choreography or do whatever. So, I mean, and that's to each his own. Everybody has their niche that way. But like with color guard, you definitely, as a coach, and I know we'll get into this later, but even as a coach, sponsor, whatever you like to call yourself, you need to have some type of knowledge about it, because how can you as a person like look at it and try to dissect what it is if you don't know what it is? How could you clean it? How could you even know what that's supposed to look like? And so
the vocabulary of it.
Yep, the vocabulary of it. That is the word, the vocabulary of it. So,
Absolutely. And I know that there are probably different kinds of vocabulary depending on where you are, if what school you went to, who your coach is, whether your coach has a formal DCI background or not. That vocabulary could potentially vary from place to place. But Ms. Morris, where can they get, or I don't even know if you can even put yourself in the mind frame, but where can a coach or a sponsor get that information? Or, how is it that they're learning? Or are they bringing in talented people to their team and therefore learning from their team, or what are they doing?
Well, I'm this way. I look for talent because I don't want to just do flags. I use sabers and rifles as well. I try to do HBCU just like a DCI, but just add a little spice to it. And now, because we have some of these teams, like Mr. Gary said, these sponsors, they don't know the technical part of it and don't know the vocabulary of it. And then you have some that do that. One group may call it this, just like the wrist extensions, some call it flutters, some call it windmills. But that's the thing about it. I would like for our Black schools, which are suffering, and I would like to somehow get everybody on one accord with the vocabulary, teach them the basics of it. Because, we have these other schools, the core schools, they learn all of the technique and vocabulary, but our Black schools, they just get somebody can do it, but don't know the vocabulary of it and the technical part of it about hand placement. And that's very important. That's just like when they go to a competition, that sets them different from the other schools. If you have, like, I judge a competition, if I have a Black school going against a white school and they're doing guard work, if that guard work is just as technical as that other school, that guard going to get it because they can add more spice. And then the other school they assume that they're going to get it.
Right.
But like when we see our black schools, a lot of them think that they don't know what to do or how to do it anyway. But that's why, I want to try to just reach out and get more people that knows the vocabulary like us to, train our students that's under us so they can go out there and help bridge it and bring us up to date.
Mm-hmm. And our goal absolutely is to train coaches, for those that are open,
Yes.
open to learning a standardized vocabulary for flag work, color guard, whatever it is that you want to call it. How do you see our high school teams and coaches? Are they having those that operate in the show style realm? How do you see them handling all of this? Or because to me, I see more proficiency on the high school level. Now, I could be wrong, but
You're accurate. I mean,
I'm
the thing
accurate.
about it is you're accurate because the thing about it is, on the high school level, they compete all the time.
Yes.
Yes.
So when they go out, there's already that level of, okay, I know what I'm going to do, or we're a competitive band, even though they're a high step band, they're competitive. See, the thing that separates a college group and a high school group is we're bound by traditions and
yes
customs and all
You
of
said a mouthful there.
and all of those things of what we can't be. And so it's easy for a high school team to be so creative and pull out all different types of equipment and all different types of silks, and you're going to get all of that stuff from them. I mean, you got your bad teams too on high school, just like you got your bad color guards and course. I mean, it's all the way around. Like, I mean, because I've judged a plenty of bad color guards in color and core style as well. Like, I mean, it's the same. If you don't know your basics and your technique, it's the same on there. But with high school and college, high schools don't have anything to lose because they're going to give it their all in competition. We got to worry about, what Faye from
alumni
said. Yeah, Faye that marched on the flag line back in '79. We didn't do it like that in '79, and we wore boots, and we did this and we did that, and we bound by this. This is what you get back. Oh, why are y'all doing all of this white stuff? Or why are y'all doing all of this? Or why are you doing all of this? I didn't think that vocabulary, I didn't think that technique had a color.
Thank you. That's just like when I first got to South Carolina State, I ran into that when I brought different color flags out there. Where's the school colors? That y'all supposed to have the color of the school. I said, it's called color guard. Don't you see the color on the field? I said, we paint the picture, we tell the story.
Right.
We enhance what the band is playing. It's called color guard. I said, and if you want us to have the school colors, you buy the flags and we'll use them.
Okay. Well, yeah, and I think there's always kind of going to be that pushback, not just from alumni, but just from people in the HBCU world in general. They just kind of, want to see things stay the same. But you guys don't even know it. You ventured into a topic that we're going to talk about later, which is what's keeping us from competition. And I think the answer is tradition.
Haven't they heard the song "Everything Must Change"?
No, I don't think so, Mr. Morris.
Nothing stays the same.
Nothing stays the same. Everything must change. And the thing about it is, I learned from my band already years ago, if you do what you always do, you get what you always get.
Right.
And for me, just like Mr. Morris, when I go back and look on the stuff like that, I have a background in dance. I've been doing dance since I was 3 years old.
I didn't know that.
That's something you don't talk about, like doing it. And even in playing sports, we had to go take ballet for coordination.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot that I have been exposed to. I did tap, did jazz, did ballet. I've did contemporary dance, all of that, done it. And so it helped when it came into color guard for me. Now, like Mr. Morris, I wasn't that type of person that was into it. In my high school, we didn't have males on our color guard. We had 32 girls, nor did I have a desire to be on the color guard. How I even got into it, doing it, I was in the color guard class one day, and my band, they had me watching something they was doing, and I just went to go pick up a flag to see what they were doing. And so I was learning their routine. And so I started picking up on it. Fast forward, I get into Winter Guard and we have an all-male rifle line. So I didn't even really start on silks. I was a weapons person. I didn't really start spinning a flag until I graduated and went to college, and I started teaching a group. And it was like, oh, we need somebody to teach the flags. And so, I mean, I know it and picked it up. It was just, you doing it. I was a weapons person, but I went and immersed myself into it, and I went and learned and just picked it up. But I had a band director also. Both my band directors, my high school band director and my college band director, are both color guards.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. And he's not the only one.
No, he's not.
I've heard that about several band directors. So that's interesting. Is it the coach that determines what the color guard's going to do, or is it a combination between the coach and the band director, or is it the band director?
Sometimes it's the band director, sometimes it's the coach. Because you have some band directors, need to say they don't want the color guard or whatever. And by me being me, if I see a band that don't have a color guard, I go to the director and ask him why.
Yeah.
Do you know how much that would enhance your whole group, your whole program?
But again, we go back to that whole tradition. We go back to tradition. Southern will never have a color guard, never. And it's interesting because there's so many students that go to Southern that used to participate in color guard, so they started their own just inter-student group, where they twirl flag. I forget the name of them, but they Southern will never.
Maybe eventually, if you get a director in there that loves the auxiliary,
Southern will never.
But the thing is, funny thing is, I don't think I could see Southern's band with a color guard.
I could.
I could, but what they do and how they present it, I can't.
Yeah, there would have to be some change.
There has to be a lot of changes, and so
there's too much tradition there.
And there's too much tradition there in that, like where you would just get to that. But the thing is, you said a mouthful. I feel like sometimes it could be a hindrance on the coach and the director. The director, both of their lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lack of knowledge. You have a lack of knowledge from the coach, and you have a lack of understanding from the director. Because for some, it's like, I don't care what you do with them, just don't make me have that headache. So it's like they just there, they don't care. It is what it is. And then you have some like, what are they out there doing? Like, you are not about to have. I mean, you got to have a band director with a vision.
That's right.
Number one, you got to have a band director with a vision.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody's vision is not that. And also sometimes a band director hands are tied, where if it's a tradition of a program that you have,
that's right,
you can't have it, then that's a fight that they're not gonna fight. That's a minute thing.
Yeah.
They're gonna take having some horns versus having a color guard.
Yes.
So I mean, and so when you get down to that whole of the nature of the beast, it's like, well, you have some band directors like that don't understand color and that concept, and that goes to that what Mr. Morris said with the school flag. I know a lot of band directors that used to argue me up and down, we're only using school colors. I said, well, do you want to look mute on the field?
Thank you.
I'm not looking
boring.
I mean, because I'm very much like Mr. Morris. I'm very outspoken about what I think about and about what I believe, respectfully.
Right.
But when it comes to things, I'm a designer. I'm a creator. So when I'm looking at stuff, I don't dream in black and white. I dream in color.
Yes.
And when I see stuff, I see color. When I listen to music, I hear color. When I see things in the sky, like I see all these interpretations of what I want, and that's how I create. And so it's so many layers and textures that have to go into it that add like to the programming. But now I want to play devil's advocate when you said about enhancing. You got color guards that take away from what the band be doing too. Because why you have 20 and 30 girls back there in the back not doing nothing the whole time and the whole show ain't moved.
Just cross the back.
Yeah, they're standing in the back. I don't understand that. I don't understand it at all, because even regardless of the type or the style of color guard or flag line that you are, you're not
Don't just
really-
stick them in the back.
don't just stick them in the bag. There's other things, and
Which-
and again, it could be because of lack of expertise,
Lack of knowledge.
lack
But
of
I'ma-
knowledge. They
I'ma
don't
tell
have
you
a they
this.
don't have a full-time coach. They're out there, the girls are out there coaching themselves, which, hey, that's how Prairie View started. That's how they started back in the day. They didn't have a coach.
I look at a lot of people.
So
you
they're
ask
back
them
there
that.
themselves, and the band director's just like, hey, just y'all just go in the back there and
Just
spread
do
out.
whatever. Mhm.
Yeah, just go ahead and spread out. And I'm just like, no, 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 no. Even if you are that step 2, step 1 Moffitt band, or whatever it is that you do, there is something you can do with color with your flag line.
Yes.
There's something that you can do, and I just challenge band directors to, one, get a color guard coach.
Yes.
Please get one, and someone who can pour into them the way that you're pouring into the band, and the way that the dance coach is pouring into the dance team, because dance team is important. So we got a coach and got a director, and we got all of that. So I just really challenge people to put the effort into it, because I would hate to see it die on the vine. I
Yes.
really would hate to see it die on the vine.
And also, we're just talking about high school, when they have these coaches or sponsors, they don't know how to dress the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
I cringe when I see some of them in competition, how the bottom of the pole don't have the crush chips, or they not weighted, and putting the flags on upside down, and they just really going for broke like nothing is wrong. They got to learn that too.
Mm-hmm. So
The
we got to
proper way
learn.
of dressing the equipment.
So
I'm glad you said that. I'm
Yeah.
so glad you said that. You struck a nerve with me when you said that. You did. I mean, it did, because that is the worst thing that I hate to see. And HBCU, in our culture, in colleges, I have been in performances and seen college teams come right on up the right shoulder, and the flags are on upside down. They come
How
on.
can you not see that?
How they on upside down. Like I look at this stuff and they come up. I said, didn't y'all get this out the catalog? These would be new flags too. And then
Right.
and I said, didn't you see how you ordered it, how it was in the catalog? And you come up. So when did flags start arcing up? But the girl right beside her got hers on correct. Everybody's
Yeah.
flag is not on wrong. I can see if
Yeah.
everybody's was on wrong. People flags were on the upside, like just different ways. And it's a lot that even goes back to that stuff of the knowledge of what we have to put into it, because at the end of the day, you can go anywhere and learn something about dance. Now, and I'm not saying specific to HBCU get into that, but you can go into anybody's studio and get basic technique.
Absolutely.
But
Mhm.
where are you going to go to get the color guard technique per se?
Yeah.
You don't have that out there. So anybody, you got videos on YouTube now where people are demonstrating things, and you got all of those things, but you just don't have a lot of people saying, hey, me as a coach, I don't know this, so I'm going to go. So-and-so drum corps is doing a flag intensive this week.
Mhm.
I'm
Yep.
going to go and pick up some knowledge. Or so-and-so is having
Right.
this area. Like for me as a designer, as everything that I do in the marching arts, I still go get professional development on it.
That's right. I still go get. Yes,
Yeah.
you're never too old to learn.
Absolutely.
You have to keep your craft polish.
Right. And we at the association plan on trying to fill this void as well.
Yes, that's what I was about to
we
say.
want to. The cat's giving us I think she's clapping. It's
Okay,
That's what I was gonna say.
I
Yes.
have a question. I'm sorry again, my camera is not on, but I do have a
Girl,
really
get rid of that cricket.
I have a question for you. How do you, and I know this is something that every dance coach wants to know, how well do you get along with, say, your dance coach? Because I know, not me, but a lot of teams have problems with color guard coaches, and you have some teams that bond together and you have some teams that doesn't bond together. How do you create a a way that you can collaborate together as far as getting along, because some people don't do that. I mean, it's like a battle between the dancers, a battle between color guard. So why is it always a battle, and what is a way that people can come together and like it's a family because you're part of the band, so it creates a family and not a battle.
Cat, when we used to do camps together, when we did
Yes.
Carver High School, what did we start off doing in the morning time? Everybody warming up together, did we not?
Yes, exactly. We create a bond starting from there. Yes.
Yeah. And now that, well, I think part of the thing is because I've been interim director of Twirling Thunder, now I've got Twirling Thunder and the Foxes doing things together. We're even doing some movement workshops, some basic ballet and movement workshops together, because Color Guard has to learn how to gracefully move across the field just the same way as
With equipment.
yeah. So it is an opportunity, I think, as a color guard coach or a flag line coach, it's an opportunity for you to work with the dancers and for both groups to thrive on that relationship, thrive because of that relationship. Yeah. My problem that I have, how can the coach help facilitate pride in the color guard and the flag line so that you don't have this going on? You don't have a bunch of girls in color guard who really just want to be dancers.
Well, what I did in the past, and I'm starting doing back, I have this book, is it Yolanda Van Zant, however you pronounce her name. I have everybody to come early, and we will read that book, whatever the daily reading is. We read that, and then we have a discussion about it. And after that, then we go have a team building program,
Right.
Bonding together, playing a game or something like that before we even start rehearsal and practice. And after that, we do all of that team building, then it's time to work.
Yeah.
They get up and do the lap, and I talk to them and tell them, this is one big family. We all is one.
Right.
If you have a problem with somebody, be woman enough or man enough to go to that person and talk about it and work it out.
Yeah.
If I have to come into the picture, then you're not gonna like it.
Right.
Because I'm either decide if I'm gonna keep you or kick you out.
Right. Right.
Because I refuse to let anybody destroy a good squad.
And one of the things that I've done, and I don't know if it's helpful, we'll see. But I try to explain the history of color guard and what it's for, and try to get them again to understand that this is what you're here for. This is what you signed up for. Color guard and flag lines, not at our school, will be, in the front, in the stands.
That's the black and white one.
Shaking, dancing, all of that other stuff. We're not gonna do that. I mean, they have some little shaking and dancing that they do, but they're throughout the band. They're behind the band. They're throughout the band, and so we have to explain to them what their function is and get them to be proud of that and to be happy instead of color guard has got to stop being a dumping ground for girls that's not good enough for the dance team.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I tell my squad now, if Champagne, the dancers are there to dance. Now, if we in a bigger stadium where we have our own space, then we go do some movement in the stands. But if we behind them, only thing you go do, you can do spirit songs and do hand motion, but we're not standing up doing something because I don't like that division. A lot going on in the stands.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't realize what that's like visually. When you stand across the field and you're watching and you just see all that movement, oh my gosh, just visually it's not a good thing.
And that's the biggest problem I think that creates it, because it's like you have a dance coach that be like, hey, you know, if we can work this out, they doing stands and we doing stands at the same time. So then you have the color guard coach getting offended because of, you know, as you know, the dancer coach. I mean, I don't have that problem because, you know, we just don't have the problem in Tri-Cities because we do all one. But I'm saying that sometimes they get offended and it's not like, hey, it just be too much going on, but in their eyes, they don't see it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, how could that, what are ways that people can solve problems that like that? Like what advice would you give to coaches and color guard coaches that can solve problems like that?
I will let them know, first of all, you know, if you're on the color guard, that comes first and foremost. And then if you want to talk with the dance coach, if they want to do stuff, the same stuff in the stands, they can do that. But if not, you know, color guard just got to know their role is on the field, spinning the flag.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And with most HBCUs, color guard does the dance routine.
Yes.
And I know with us, the Foxes will be on the sideline and they just out there learning the dance. They learning the dance routine and everything, and they get mad because they can't go out there and do the dance routine. But color guards on each side doing the dance routine and everything. So, you know, there's perks to both groups. I understand how social media has taken the popularity of the dance teams and just kind of, you know, taking it. But that's another idea for coaches, is that, you know, you have to monitor and really determine what kind of presence you want on social media. Because a lot of times it's really just about getting all of that, you know, that social media acceptance and, you know, getting videotaped and getting recorded and reposted and all of that kind of stuff. And as a coach, you actually have some control over that.
Mm-hmm, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. You have
say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't blink. Don't blink. Just say exactly what it is. Well, it's we're getting close to the end here. So before we wrap up, I want to just encourage anyone who's watching us right now to please like this episode and then subscribe to the HBCUADD channel so that you'll get notified anytime we do our little mini cast. And so we appreciate your support. And I just want to go around real quick and if anybody has any final thoughts about coaching in the HBCU world for color guards, any little, Mr. Morris, you have dropped several gems already. So if you can just drop one more before you go, because I know you're busy. And then anyone else who has anything they'd like to say, let's go ahead. So Mr. Morris, let's start with you.
Yes, ma'am. Well, you have to love what you do and do what you love, and you make the best of it. Mm-hmm. You know, when I was coming up, I knew what I wanted to do in life, and I didn't let nothing deter me. I'm a determined person. Mm-hmm. Like the saying said, winners never quit and quitters never lose. Mm-hmm. And I'm a champion.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Kat, your turn.
I'm sorry. I would say that don't look at color guard as being a bad thing, because a lot of students who are young ladies who don't make the dance team, and it's like, well, try color guard. You may be good for that, but a lot of them don't want to try out for color guard because they feel like they'll be stuck in a box. So I would say, don't turn your head on color guard, because it's so much creativity when it comes down to color guard. Yeah. So don't be discouraged about trying out, because you will end up loving it. And also it's a creative art. And and it can take you a long way. I mean, you can try out for teams or colleges that, not only just thinking about dance, but you can also try out for college teams, being on the color guard, right? And DCI.
DCI. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that's my, thought of it.
And winter guard.
And winter guard, right?
And winter guard, yes, yes, yes. I forgot about winter guard. Yes.
Okay, Stephanie.
Well, color guard is not my bailiwick. Dance is. So I only thing I'm going to say is, and I can only go by my own personal experiences, is that we have, and like Mr. Morris said, we have as coaches, we have to um, encourage these girls to love what they're doing
I
and
can ride with you.
stop looking at flag as 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 secondary to
Yeah.
because at our school they get features.
Yeah.
I've been to some schools where they don't get a feature, but at
Right.
our school they get features.
I'm
Now,
right with you twice.
so we have to encourage them to, this is what you want to do, love it, give it your all, your 110%, and don't worry about what the next team is doing. You're there to enhance everything. So.
Right. Exactly.
Miss Stephanie, with
Yes.
that, learn it, love it, and live it.
That's right. I'm gonna write that down. Learn it.
Learn it, love it, and live
and
it.
live it.
I
All
like
right,
it.
Gary, go ahead.
I just encourage everyone to, again, just reiterating, love what you do. At the end of the day, we have to have a love and an understanding for flag, for color guard, and understand what it is. And if you don't know and your team don't know, I encourage this season to really just go back to the basics, go back to square one and build yourself up. And even as you're designing for your teams, write for the level of your group.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that, because I'm not going to go and expound into that, don't down and not write for the level of your group, but you're just out there doing drop spins. No, you have to challenge your group, but you still have
That's
to
right.
write for your group, because at the end of the day, you want your students to be their best.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want them to be out there, represented in a bad light. So in all things that you do, make sure that you understand and pay attention to that.
Right.
Just pay
Absolutely.
attention to what you're doing, just going back to those core elements. And if you don't know, call somebody.
Amen. Because we have lots of resources here. We have lots of resources here. So, and I want to acknowledge Vidette Spellman, who's also one of our board members who joined. Vidette, do you have anything to close us out today?
I'm sure. Good evening. Just echoing the comments of my colleagues. As an alum, just make sure, again, just love what you do, absorb your craft. As a coach, you don't have to conform or utilize, mediocre skills if you don't have the skill set on your squad. Practice with them, pair up, your strongest with your most challenged student, and work from there. Just, take the time, make sure that you are balancing your schedule. You're not rushing, you're not waiting to the last minute to try to put together a routine or a performance, because at the end of the day, of course, you want it to be your best. But you got to make sure that you learn, and you understand the squad that you have. And let's build from there. And just like one of my colleagues just said, it's nothing wrong with going back to the basics.
That's right.
That's right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And also just so you can be clean, you always go to the basics. If you stick to the basics, you won't go wrong.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then I'll close out by saying, the association, Auxiliary and Dance Directors Association, we're going to be working hard to be able to pull together these resources for any coach out there that wants it, as far as not just learning more, but in networking and getting support in the craft. So, me, I always got to pump up and tell everyone that, this is where you want to be. I want to thank you guys for this conversation. There's so much more conversation when it comes to color guard. And I've heard some people say, oh, it seems like the association is really dance focused. And I think that's by design, just because the dance side of it is just more established and there are more dance teams. than color guard, but our goal is to definitely spread the love and to give as much attention to color guard and our baton twirlers as we do anything else. So, and this is we're hoping that people see that. So guys, thank you very much. And
Miss Zachary,
yes,
Zachary, I have page of the vocabulary that I use that I teach to my squad. That would be good if we can, once we get this consulted together, we
yes,
just have a workshop of that, learning that.
yes, absolutely, we should do that. And we can do that. I mean, if we want to get together and try and do that before the conference. Now, you know, our conference is tentatively scheduled for the end of March in 2023. But if we want to do it
Yes.
before then, we definitely can. If we want to hold something virtual and
Yes.
you know, get our coaches together. So, but that's another thing, and is that I encourage all of our color guard coaches to please reach out. Please reach out and let us know that you're here. Because to be quite honest, our color guard coaches have been pretty quiet. So we
Yes.
want to know that you're there. We want to know what you're doing and what kind of help you need, so that we can help one another and get all of this done. I want to thank our special guest, Mr. Eddie Morris from South Carolina State University. I know you're busy because you're at a camp right now teaching. So
Yes.
thank you for taking some time out tonight to help us. Thank you, Kat, Gary, Vidette, and Stephanie. And we'll be signing off, and we'll be back on next week, Monday, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, and we will see you then.
Love you all and God bless.
Love
All
you
right.
too.
Have a good night.
Y'all take